Without further ado, it is my privilege to introduce our first speaker this morning. Here to provide a Texas welcome is Jose A. Joe Esparza. Joe was sworn in as Texas Deputy Secretary of State on December 14, 2018. He previously served as the Senior Appointments Manager in the Office of the Governor, overseeing numerous gubernatorial appointments during Governor Abbott's first term. A graduate of Texas Tech University, Esparza earned a Bachelor of Arts in Agricultural Communications. Esparza received an honorable discharge from the United States Marine Corps and is a veteran of the global war on terrorism, having served in Iraq. Please welcome Deputy Secretary Joe Esparza.
Everybody, thank you for the introduction. One thing I want to say, thank you to the Sandra Day O'Connor, if they're still here, junior ROTC team for that moving performance there with their color guard, and of course our national anthem. I don't know about you, but I was waiting for some cannons to hit at that. It felt like we were right there into an outdoor stadium. But thank you again, Lee, for the introduction, and thank you for all your service for the NACD. And in the interest of starting off with a laugh, I'll give you that cue. I wanted to tell you a story I heard from radio man W.F. Strong recite. It's a truly a Texas classic from the 60s. It concerns a prideful Texan who died and went to heaven. St. Peter was giving him an orientation tour of heaven to get him acquainted with the splendor of the place. He first showed him some snow-covered peaks reminiscent of the Swiss Alps. And the Texan said, "Well, they're nice if you like mountains all covered in snow that way. I like mine with a light dusting every now and then, otherwise hot and dry like we have them in Big Bend." Next, St. Peter took him by the elbow and flew him up to the peak overlooking a gorgeous mountain river, he said. "You ever seen a mountain more beautiful blue than that?" Texas said, "No, but you want to see the most beautiful turquoise river, you just need to float down the Devil's River, then keep going down the Pecos." Sorry to mention them, but that's the name of it. And don't get me started on the Guadalupe for beauty and all the beer you can drink. St. Peter interrupted him and pointed to an alpine forest waving in the gentle breeze before them. The Texan said, "Well, that's impressive, but nothing can steal my heart away from the piney woods of East Texas. You ever seen the Big Thicket?" Exasperated, St. Peter flew the Texan over the very edge of heaven and had him look over the side. Now, far, far below, there was a dense fire billowing and smoke as far as he could see. St. Peter said, in a most threatening and almost a threatening tone, "Well, what do you think about that?" So the Texan said, "Well, that's impressive and clearly out of control. But I tell you what, we got some good old boys in Houston that could help put that out for you." On behalf of the Secretary of State, David Whitley, and our Governor, Greg Abbott, I'd like to welcome y'all to Texas. Welcome to Texas. We are very, very proud to have you here. And also, welcome to San Antonio. Welcome to San Antonio. I want to add that the Alamo City right now is in the middle of its tricentennial celebration. That's 300 years. That's 300 years of folks, civilizations coming to this place and trading and being, being amicable with friends and trading that leadership and knowledge of things learned. So here's to 300 years of friendship, tradition, culture, and breakfast tacos. Lone Star State is extremely proud to host your 73rd annual meeting, but more importantly, we're proud to join you in your conservation efforts to help preserve and protect this incredible state that we love and call home. I personally am humbled to be here with you today. Now, I was asked to present a few words, about 15 minutes or so, I was told, on some interesting facts about Texas. I wanted to tell you about the miles of Texas River we swim in, the vastness of the open plains and farmlands that impact the world's economy, and about the clearest and darkest skies that loom forever over the Big Bend region. But I mean, 15 minutes, come on, there's literally thousands of years of geology that we're going to get into here to start off with. So, but we'll get through that soon. And in 15 minutes, I can hardly tell you the story of the Texas love for the official/unofficial state hamburger, the Whataburger. Y'all be sure to hit a Whataburger on your way before you get out of town. You'll thank me for that later. Now, growing up in West Texas with a background in agriculture, I know the important role our conservation districts played in preserving our land, keeping our forests healthy, and our waterways clean. Now, growing up, my father worked as an ag agent there in West Texas, and he worked with local governments and the extension services to provide the best resources and education to our farmers and landers, and introduce the young and upcoming men and women to land stewardship and how to best treat the land that they're inherited. And my mother, she was also an ag. She worked for the local entomologist during that time, helped cataloging insects. So not only was I fortunate to have access to a really expensive microscope, but I could, to my mother's horror, in all certainty tell her that, yes, Mom, those were 4 spore-throated grasshoppers I just chewed up and ate. But my parents demanded that I understood at an early age the importance of today, the reason that's brought this assembly together for almost 75 years. Education and shared knowledge. I saw my parents work with the conservation districts to help implement better practices to protect our valuable resources and guard them against misuse and the unfortunate apathy that led to irreversible damages from earlier decades. The 3,000 districts you represent are better today because of your hard work and leadership, and for that we truly thank you. Now, not to brag, but if you hadn't noticed, bragging about Texas is part of our pastime. But Texas takes up almost 10% of the entire landmass of the United States. Up until about 1959, we were the largest landmass of the United States, thanks to Alaska. Where's Alaska at today? I saw you earlier. Some would argue if you didn't count the snow and ice, we'd still hold that title, but we're coming here. We're glad you can make it, Alaska. They're biggest state in the U.S., and they get first in the parade of states every time. So there you go. Now, Texas has more than 500 soil and water conservation districts, 100 groundwater conservation districts, and 8 wildlife districts. Our conservation leaders are engaged with the land and the community they serve. They hold regular elections and that reflect the will of their districts. They foster public and private co-ops to enhance the quality of our natural resources. And they work with our farmers and ranchers to help protect them and preserve their land. As a state, we're committed to the continuing work with our stakeholders and all of you to continue to pass the best possible Texas and the United States over to the next generation. I'd like to thank you again and leave on words borrowed from literary historian T.K. Whipple, who pointed out, we live in a world our forefathers created, but within us is the wilderness that still lingers. What they dreamed, we live. What they lived, we dream. We can't let the past go unanswered, but provide generations to come the momentum to bring about the solutions set in motion today. Thank you all. God bless Texas, and God bless the United States.